Welcome to the show. My name is Araceli. I think you should know that by now. Transition wealth advisor and real estate investor in the US and Canada. I'm also a real estate coach. And this week with Colette, we're having an interesting subject that is a lot of people are looking for and that they want to know what it is. Colette, can you introduce yourself and tell us what we're talking about today?
Yes, of course. Hi, everybody. My name is Colette Rabat. I just see it in the background. I'm a proud Canadian.
Yay!
So I am a real estate broker in the GTA, in Canada, Ontario, Mississauga, GTA West, anywhere from Toronto all the way to, I don't know, Burlington, let's say. Anyway, Araceli and I love to do this little chat because we have so much information we want to share with you to get you either into real estate as an investor or as a homeowner, or even commercial real estate. That's totally up to you, but we want to give you whatever information that you might not normally hear or even explore, because if you don't know, how do you research that even on the World Wide Web? So we want to bring
There's so many things, so many subjects, and there's so many little pieces about real estate that people have no idea that
right.
So yeah, that's what we're doing here.
And you might never, this might never occur to you, or this specific subject, you might not even be aware of that it's possible. So what we're talking about today, everybody's heard of appraisals and how, you know, if you want to buy something, you need to get an appraisal on the property you're looking at. Yeah. But there's also something that realtors do for people, which is called a letter of opinion. So people ask me all the time, lawyers ask me all the time too, to write a letter of opinion for a certain property. So it's a different thing though, and that's what we want to explain to you today.
So Colette, first of all, explain to me, what is a letter of opinion?
Okay, so a letter of opinion is something that a realtor can do for you. Sometimes you see ads that say free, you know, we'll give you the value of your property, free evaluation, whichever way they call it. You know,
is that the same that creating a letter of opinion?
Not really, no. And I'll tell you what the difference is between that. So if you see an ad that says, oh, you know, call us, it's a free, we'll get you to know what your house is. And they don't want to call it an appraisal because we are not appraisers. You have to go to school for that. You have to be hired usually by the bank to get a formal appraisal. I know we were joking about there's no informal appraisal, but this is like, you know, it's a very serious thing. And it's something that banks have to look at when they want to lend, when they are ready to give you a mortgage. So that's one big difference too. A letter of opinion, you cannot bring to a bank and say, hey, you know, will you go by this? Because it's just our opinion. So as realtors, and you might get 3 different agents to give you 3 different letter of opinions, and they might all be different. So the way, what the difference between is this, oh, I'll give you a free evaluation, and a letter of opinion is just a little bit more formal to say, here's a letter of opinion, and you know how much your house is valued at, and it's a snap in time too. So don't ever forget that, because appraisal is also a snap in time, but when it's a letter of opinion, you say, this is the market conditions as of today. Might change tomorrow. The mortgage rate might go up tomorrow. So all these little things, I want to say this is an informal appraisal.
Yeah.
And the difference between a letter of opinion and having somebody just come in and give you an appraisal for your house, is the paperwork. Sometimes agents don't leave that information because they actually want you to sell your house with them. So they don't leave you any kind of information. They won't actually write it out and formally, you know, give it to you in a package. So a letter of opinion is that. It's an actual letter. And when I do a letter of opinion, I actually have findings that back up my letter. So I have comparables when I can. I have market fluctuations when it comes to having this kind of, where did you get this number from?
Yep.
It's not just, because we all know every house is a little bit different. So it's not just comparables, but it's market conditions, it's location, it's the age of the house, It is there is some work to it. It's not like, oh, I can just like, guess. It's not a guess.
Yeah. Well, actually, you explained to me exactly how you do a letter of opinion, and this is not something that is just you walk by and I said, "Oh well, it's that's much." No, there is a little bit of work involved in that, and of course, if you hire an experienced realtor in the area, don't hire somebody that is far, far away because it's going to be much different a letter of opinion that somebody
Right.
that is actually working in the area because they know the area, they can see comparables, they actually sell in that area, so they know how the market fluctuates and give you a much better detailed explanation, and the value will be more accurate than somebody that is not in the area, right?
Right.
I have
Right.
another question here for you.
Sure.
So does it cost to get a letter of opinion?
Yeah, I actually charge, I have lawyers calling me, like I said, lawyers will call me and say, I need an evaluation. I need a letter of opinion, not an evaluation. I need a letter of opinion on X property. Can you do that for me? So sometimes I might not even be able to formally go out and look at the property. That for sure, you'd always want somebody to, even a letter of opinion, you
Yeah.
want them to see everything. But the other thing too about um, getting a letter of opinion, there's only a certain thing that it's good for. Like you can't take it and go to the bank, like I said, and say, here's my letter of opinion from my wonderful realtor. I trust her. That's great, but that's not, the bank needs something more formal. When there is money exchanging hands, you will I would absolutely recommend getting a formal appraisal either through the bank, or you can hire an appraiser yourself and pay for it yourself. How much is an appraiser in the States?
It ranges between like $600 to $1,000, depends of where you go. Um,
Yeah,
I'm assuming that in Canada it's about the same
I was gonna
right
say,
now.
yeah,
And normally you would require an appraisal when you're actually going to do a refinance or you have a mortgage or anything
right,
like that. So the bank is always going to do it. Now, you have no say in who's going to do it because it's a third party. So the bank, which is going to give you the loan, will hire an independent
right,
appraisal. So you can't do it yourself.
right.
If you're an appraisal, you cannot appraise your house.
Yeah, I would think that's a conflict of interest for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
So, and what a letter of opinion really is good for is for you to know how much your house is worth. So let's say you're writing your will and you want to leave some money to your kids, and you think, okay, well, the house is worth $1 million and I have two kids, and if they get like 500 each or whatever it is, you might want to say, no, I don't like that. That's way too much money. I want to do it in a percentage, let's say. So at least you have an idea of how much the house is worth right now in that snapshot at that moment to say, okay, talking about wills, that's a whole other story. But you can get a letter of opinion for that. You can get a letter of opinion just for yourself to know what your house is worth. Because if you need to write it for your insurance, then you have an idea.
Yep.
If you decide to sell it to a friend or sell it to a relative or somebody that's close, or even just hand it off to them, so you know how much there's land transfer tax, the lawyer will need something. So if you give it to that, they may or may not take it. I really don't know if they would accept that. I think so. If it doesn't go to court, that's the thing. Let's say you're going through a separation or divorce and you need to know how much your house is worth. So, and I actually did that. I did it, and I had someone else give me a
Yeah.
letter of opinion just to back up what my thoughts were as well.
Yeah.
To say to my husband, hey, the house is worth this much money. That means, half is, in Canada, it's
Well, half of the
split
equity
it.
will be his, right?
Right. So
If
how do
you
you
have a
figure it
mortgage.
out?
If you don't have
Yeah.
a mortgage, it's half of everything, right? So,
Right. And again, like there's more to it than saying, oh, you can use that. Because if if you have to go to court, you can't take a letter of opinion. That's not enough. They would want a formal formal
yeah,
appraisal.
I think that's the difference. I think it's a very good rule of thumb to do an evaluation, especially if you're separating amicably, which it doesn't happen very often, but if it
Right.
does, then it's just a lot easier to get a realtor to give you a letter of opinion, and then you can get done. The same if you're going to pass the house to your children, or maybe you're thinking about refinancing and said, okay, well, how much really my house is worth? I've been in the house 10 years. I have
Right.
no idea what the market is now. This is my current mortgage. Would it be better to do a refinance? Maybe I can do it now. So you can kind of do your numbers instead of
Right.
trying to do the appraisal costs money, right? So costs a lot
Right.
more money than
Right.
a letter of opinion. So
Well, and that's the other thing too, where when you think of like, oh, I actually do want to sell my house. So let's say I feel like, oh, you know what, I'm getting to the age, I want to downsize, I want to retire. I don't know how much that money in your hand to
yeah,
use as retirement,
yep,
and you can downsize either to a smaller place, their kids are gone, you don't need this big house. So a letter of opinion is just to give you that snapshot of, okay, you know what? And you know what? The other thing too, along this, when you talk to a realtor, maybe not all of them, but I definitely do, where I'm very honest with people. I say, listen, you're not being pushed out. You're okay. The market's kind of crappy right now. Just
yeah,
wait maybe a year till things sort of, go back up. And if you're not in a big rush, if there's not a property that you really want to buy, oh, that's another thing too. You want to buy a property but you're not sure how much you can get for your
yep,
existing property, that's another reason to get a letter of opinion. You can just say, hey, okay, well, this is how much equity I have in my current house. And like you said, either use it to buy another property to move in and sell that house, or to buy another income property. So, there's lots of reasons to do that.
yeah. Also to do some financial planning. A lot of people will depend on their house. Their house will be the only asset when they're
Right.
ready to retire. And they say, you know what, I'm downsizing, but I don't know what to do with this money because obviously, if even if I go to a smaller house that is cheaper on an ongoing basis, I still have other money to that I require to live.
Of
So it
course.
is a very good way to say, okay, so if you sell this house, buy this house, or go to live somewhere else that is cheaper, you might be even opt for renting, right?
Exactly.
Even
Yeah. So
if
it's just
you're
a
buyer's out.
snapshot. Yeah. It's just an idea to say, okay, I have this beautiful house and this beautiful equity sitting here doing nothing. What can I do with it? So letter of opinion will get those juices flowing to say, okay, well, this is what I can do with
Yeah.
it. This is what, I can dream, right? It's a dream. It's a path. It's part of the path to dream. So I love writing letter of opinions. For me, I charge $300 in the GTA. Really, when you look at an appraisal, it's much cheaper, but it's
It is.
also, um, if you actually want to sell your house, then it's free. Then I'm not going to charge you for that. So it depends on the client, depends on where it is, and the level of comfort for that person, if they're ready to sell or not. I'm not one to pressure people to sell their house, but you never know. You can do amazing things with that money that you've
Absolutely.
saved,
Maybe you're
right?
thinking now of starting to invest in real estate, and maybe that is the way to go. And instead of actually taking the money, you can qualify for a line of credit or maybe a HELA, which is a home equity line of credit
Yeah.
that you can just use to take this money and buy another property. So
Yeah, absolutely. So it gives you an idea of what is possible. So really, letter of opinion is quite a handy tool for me. I really enjoy doing them too, because it gives me an idea of, like, it keeps me abreast of the neighborhood too, and what's going on and how much things are worth. So it's actually a really nice thing to keep that ball rolling within certain areas, to know what the evaluations are of certain houses, because you never know. Like, one day I gave a letter of opinion, the lady decided to sell the house. So you never know. Once you realize, oh my gosh, I actually have a lot of value in this property,
yeah,
what can I do with it? You want to travel the world, you want to buy another
yeah.
property, you want to buy a fishing boat somewhere, knock yourself out.
It
Whatever
just
you want
basic,
to do.
yeah, it's just basically a tool that will give you just a snapshot of what your finances are. And remember, everybody has different things. And if this is the only thing that you're relying on to retire, that might be a very good idea to look at if you're getting close to taking your retirement. Now, if you don't have any other assets from a company, from maybe your business or inheritance or anything like that, it might be probably your only way to get some equity and make some decisions that will let you have the life that you want to live in, and that is a very good choice. So Colette, can you give us a quick summary of what happens, because we kind of went all over the place today.
Yeah, that's okay. And I just want to say, and buy more real estate.
Yeah, for sure.
Get the money and buy more real estate. Like that's really the message here, is that we still want you to invest. We still believe that real estate is the best investment.
Absolutely.
So yeah, get that money out of your house. Okay, so letter of opinion versus an appraisal. Letter of opinion is more informal, of just an idea of a snapshot on what your house is worth at that moment that the letter of opinion is written. You can't take it to court, but you can use it for a separation to get an idea. You can use it to get your insurance up to date or your wills up to date. Or tell your kids, hey, you know, I'm sitting on $2 million here.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Yeah, don't tell them. I'm joking. Yeah, so really, it's a great tool to have. Letter of opinion is
to do some financial planning as well if you're ready to retire.
Absolutely, yes.
You want to downsize.
Yes.
And if you don't have any other assets that you rely on for retirement, maybe the house that you're in, you've been there for too long and now you don't want to maintain it, it's too much work, it'll allow you to make some better financial decisions, and so your money lasts a lot longer.
Absolutely. Yes, that's a lot. See, I think they're very valuable. So there's something to be said about them. So call me anytime. I will happily do it.
Absolutely. And you can never really devalue the worth of a good realtor to be by your side, especially like Colette, you know, she's not pushing you into selling, but she does an evaluation of your current situation as well, just like I do, because we want you to be in the best circumstances for you. And sometimes even if you think that you want to sell, that might not be the best. And Colette is very honest at that, to tell you exactly what you need to do.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yay, thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we'll let you go. So if you have any other questions about the letter of opinion, please contact either one of us. Please subscribe if you want to see anything else. We're here for you. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Colette.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for being here on the show. Please remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when there are more shows available. And if you would like to have more information on how to start investing in real estate, please visit my website at www.aracelihernandez.com. Thank you.